Miss Susato, just tell me one thing. Oh, yes? You're in the middle of saying something before. The footnote in your encyclopedia. However, the defense... What did it say next? Oh, yes, of course. One moment. When all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict. And then the footnote says, however, the defense has the right to demand a summation examination of the jurors.
Objection!
A summation explanation. From which century has that tome you have been resurrected? From which century has that tome you have there been resurrected? Okay. Judging from the banding, I would say the book is at least 50 years old. Any modern text on British law wouldn't even give such an antiquated procedure a mention. It's a relic, long forgotten and certainly no longer practiced. So you're out of luck. Oh. What even is it, Miss Susato? The so-called summation explanation. Examination. Is it examination or explanation? Examination, okay. You would demand the right to procedure before you even understand what it entails? Typical Nipponese. Alright, Mr. Naruto, I think I understand. It seems that under this procedure, we would be able to appeal to the members of the jury. To do what, exactly? Appeal to them to change their leaning and reverse their decisions. And it says here that if successful, the proceedings of the trial must be resumed. Make them reverse their decisions. Yes, in times gone by, barristers would use a summation examination to attempt to influence the jury's decision. But that procedure became something of a formality with no practical benefit, really, so it rather fell out of use. I wonder why. Because it was devoid of purpose. Changing just one member of the jury's mind would be hard enough, let alone several. No self-respecting defense barrister would even assert his right to try in this day and age. Well, I have no self-respect, so let's go! Still, I don't see any mention of the procedure actually being formally revoked. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that although it may be antiquated and largely forgotten, it isn't yet extinct. Fair enough. What do you think, Mr. Naruto? Well, it's either that or we lose, so I mean, like, that as well. Summation examination. Do we assert our right to carry it out or admit defeat? Assert our right, damn it! As Nipponese. The defense wishes to assert its right to a summation examination, my lord.
Objection!
Oh my god, can you not? London is the capital city of the most powerful nation on earth. We have a duty to the world to exemplify the very highest standards of judicial procedure, which is why I'm being a dick. Summation examinations are an embarrassment that should remain buried. But if it's our right, then it's our right. I believe it could prove vital in this trial. The defense's petition is perfectly valid. The court will proceed with summation examination. This is madness. Foreman, are you and the remainder of the jury ready? Eh? Well, I'm not. There was no mention of this in the letter I received, you see, so... Our members of the jury will be asked to explain on what grounds they have reached the decision. On what grounds? You must all justify your decisions and explain why you believe the defendant to be guilty. Well, my lord, you're rather putting us on the spot. This is most irregular. No mention of this was made of this before. I don't really hold with all this justifying, Lark. That seems to have thrown the jurors off. Seems none of them experienced this before. Alright then. A summation examination. A defense procedure no practicing lawyer has attempted for years, is it? Well, just maybe. It might be the opportunity we've been looking for. To turn this trial around. So be it then. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court hereby calls upon you to state the grounds on which you find the defendant Magnus be guilty of this most serious crime. Judicial findings. There was no one else inside the carriage at the time, so it had to have been him.
I trust the driver. He has an excellent memory, it seems. 4 passengers with fares totaling 20 pence. What?
He stuck the chap next to him just like this. Brazen, I must say. Absolutely brazen.
I have simply typed and collated all the statements made just far and drawn the logical conclusion.
You trust the guild. Fair fares is our motto. We haven't raised prices above 4 pence for years. Hey, wait a fucking second.
The scoundrel stabbing that poor man on the floor at Becker's belief.
There's so much wrong here. I'm starting to wish I hadn't pushed for this now.
Some of the jurors don't seem to have wonderfully formed arguments, though, do they?
Well, let's see what we can do. We need to get these 6 people to change their minds. So throw everything I can at them in some very persuasive language.
Just a moment, Mr. Naruto. According to my book, that's not quite how it works.
Oh, I thought it was going to have to thaw their icy minds with some heartwarming rhetoric about the defendant.
Unfortunately, once the jurors have decided the defendant is guilty, they're unlikely to heed anything the defense says. But then, they've reached their conclusions by their own reasonings, you see. Their pleas will sound like excuses. In fact, it could recoil on you. The more you try to persuade them, the more entrenched they may become.
And what on earth am I supposed to do?
Oh dear. I'm just citing what I've read about British law, Mr. Naruto.
Right, I'm sorry. Do you have any idea how to make this work, then?
Well, from what I can understand, the key to this procedure is using the jurors' own words to make your arguments.
What do you mean?
Well, the 6 members of the jury are randomly selected members of the public. They may appear to present a united front, but the truth is, they're complete strangers who just happen to find themselves here in the courtroom together.
And that's the way to break them down, you mean?
Yeah, pretty much. We must listen very carefully to what each member of the jury says, and see if we can identify any contradictory statements. If we can, we then contrast the statements and pit the corresponding jurors against each other.
I see. So it's like contradictions and what 2 more jurors say what we're looking for. In a way, then, this is similar to a regular cross-examination.
Oh, yeah, I suppose you're right.
Find contradictions in their statements and pit the jurors against one another to break them down. Alright, I might be able to pull this off. No, that's not right. I have to pull this off.
I will start proceedings. I'm late for my luncheon.
I would ask you to take the stand for this. I'm expecting a clear and concise rebuttal. Yes, my lord. Jury examination. Oh, no, where are you? Yeah.
Objection!
Yeah, the fuck? Those 2 statements clearly contradict each other. They do? Explain yourself, counsel.
Me? Oh dear, what have I said?
I swear on Silver Blaze's main and name, I haven't had the first idea what you're talking about. According to the group testimony we've heard so far, there were 4 passengers on the omnibus in the night in question. And according to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 20 pence in fares.
Quite right, I have those precise details typed neatly here in front of me.
And juror number 5 also told us the following. The fare for the omnibus is always 4 pence. That is a fair and convenient single price. Just the way London's carriages should be operated. But that doesn't add up at all. You guys can't do basic math! In fact, it leaves a glaring discrepancy in the facts. Wow, man, why? 4 passengers paying 4 pence each. If you do the multiplication,
it would be 16 pence.
Exactly. As I said, it doesn't add up. The figures are different.
By 4 pence, in fact. Or precisely 1 person's fare.
1 person's fare?
Yes. In other words, on the omnibus that night, it's distinctly possible. There was another passenger we've heard nothing about.
Good gracious. This can't be right. The coachmen of the guild are good honest men, one and all. Trustworthiness is our watchword.
The figures your coachman claims most certainly do not add up. Your watchword, good sir, is a fallacy.
I beg your pardon?
Mr. Guildmaster, I think you ought to consider that if this trial were to end now, the news will surely spread all over London. The news that one of your coachmen tried to hide the fact that he let nefarious characters ride his omnibus.
Oh, then how do I make it so this miserable trial doesn't end then?
Well, obviously you have to just overturn your fucking verdict. You simply launch a ball of fire into the innocent side on the set of scales.
Now hold her there, coachman. We were all in agreement. Why do you have to go in? I'll do it! Wait till I get my hands on you, Beppo! Innocent, I say! Well, this is all very irritating.
Begging your pardon, sir. I'm going to do the same.
For the love of Mike. Not you. Who the fuck is Mike?
A penny can be the difference between a smile and a tear, after all. I certainly can't put my trust in someone who doesn't follow my exacting standards in financial matters.
Oh, really?
I, for one, think it's only proper that we hear from the witnesses again. Hooray, Mr. Naruto! You did it! If we can manage to change 2 more jurors' minds, we can force the trial to continue. 2 more, actually. That's 2/3. There's something else that's bothering me about a couple of their assertions.
So how did you do it?
How did I do it? Okay, so where did you leave?
Hmm?
Where did you leave? I forget what the last thing you saw was.
They were accusing him of being a bad person. That he was stealing from the
Oh, you missed a lot. Okay, so all 6 jurors voted guilty, and Susato's like, oh, well, there's this old practice that hasn't been used in like 50 years or whatever, where the defense can ascertain that the you know, they're not guilty.
Mm-hmm.
So we did that, and now the jurors have to assert why they think that the accused is guilty, and we have to poke contradictions in them. And so we found out that the fare, as we heard earlier, that the fare was for the night was 20 pence. And then the guy, one of the jurors, is like I guess the guild leader of the coach stuff, and he said that the fare per person is 4 pence. So we're like, hey, wait a second, that's like 1 person short. That's the math doesn't add up. So there could have been another person, and we're like, hey, you can't. If you stop now, something sus is going on here.
Yeah. I use these socks.
Are you gonna get food?
Hmm?
Are you going to go out?
No, I'm just
A little cold. I got you.
What the fuck is this?
I don't know. You want to make something?
I don't know. What can I make? Ow! Seriously, what the hell is wrong with you?
It was just right there.
Baby,
Yeah?
get yourself another girlfriend. Get yourself another boyfriend.
Actually, I don't know why I said no to that. we need a 2/3 majority to overthrow the guilty ruling. So
I'll go,
yeah.
I was going to ask this. Wouldn't the Guildmaster be the first one to recognize, hey, that math doesn't add up? But then I realized everyone in this game is incompetent.
Yeah, everyone's fucking stupid.
Hey, we're heavy on the side of guilt. Council, you have the floor again. Continue with your summation and examination.
And then I think now is the part where we're hearing about the scoundrel stabbing that poor man on the floor.
Nothing on the floor.
Yeah, so we're gonna pit. This guy says he was next to him, and then this guy, this woman says they were on the floor. So.
Objection.
Those two statements are completely contradictory.
What? Explain, Council, post haste.
Oh, dearie me. I was only knitting a jumper for my other hat. What? Oh, okay, sorry. Thought she was referring to something else entirely. What is all this claptrap? What does contradictory even mean, I ask you? You're a juror. We've heard from more than one witness that they allegedly saw the actual moment when the defendant stabbed the victim. Now, out of curiosity, juror number 3. What? Can't you see I'm busy here? How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim? What sort of motion was it? Ah, well, just test me, do you? It was like this. Stuck the fellow next to him without even getting up, just like the prim banker said.
Yes, I suppose Mr. Fairplay's testimony, quite true.
Now then, juror number 6. Oh, is that
She
me?
was not paying attention.
What can I do for you, young man? How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim, madam? Oh, well, dear, as far as I understand it, it was like this. He stabbed the poor man after he'd collapsed on the floor. The coachman said so.
Now don't move.
Take a look at these two jurors. Stuck the fellow next to him without even getting up. And he stabbed the poor man after he'd collapsed on the floor.
Well, I never. They're stabbing in totally different directions.
What?
Ah, motherfucker.
Blast my stitches, what a muddle! What this tells us is that there's a strong possibility one of the witnesses isn't telling the truth. Oh. But why? Why the dickens would they lie? I don't know that yet, but what I do know... What do you got there?
Chocolate.
What? Where did you get chocolate from?
You have chocolate chips.
What? Okay. Alright, I hope you know what you're doing.
I do.
Okay. Alright. So trial ends at this point. We may never find out. We may never know the real truth. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, can you really let that happen in all good consciousness? As you say, oh dearie me, I don't like lying. I can't buy people telling lies. The scales.
I don't believe it. They're equal. Wait. Now hear this, my fellow jurors. I warn you, you cannot listen to this man. Look at him in his black suit. He's clearly some devious Eastern sorcerer using magic on us all.
Wait, is someone actually saying that?
Yeah.
Which one's saying that?
Juror number 1. If I could use magic, do you really think I'd be putting myself through all this?
Actually, let me do this, Dark Jinx.
Huh? Me?
What exactly is the problem? What of it if two witnesses have slightly different recollections of events?
What of it?
Let's say Shylock did stab the victim as he was sat next to him on the omnibus, and this young dandy saw him do it. And now let's say the victim collapsed on the floor, and then the Shylock's stabbing him again. And this old lady saw him do it. Well, what's to say it didn't happen like that, hmm? Who you calling dandy, sir? Why I should take this knife to you? Why do you have a knife?
Who are you calling old? Why I should take this needle to you?
Ugh, they're all ready to kill each other now. But could the foreman of the jury be right? Did the two witnesses see two different moments of the same crime? It's out of the question.
No, because the picture was shown that he was still sitting in his seat.
Also, there was only one stab wound.
What is it, you dark jinx? Come on, out with it.
What you're suggesting is impossible. It's out of the question. I made all the ladies gasp.
What are you talking about, man? How could you possibly say that?
Kristen? What are you doing?
Sorry.
What are you doing? Where'd you put my popcorn bucket?
Over here. On the counter.
Okay.
You do realize that I'm only doing my job. As foreman of the jury, I have a responsibility to steer everyone in the right direction. So where's your evidence, man? That's what we want to see. I say the two witnesses saw two different moments of the same crime. If you say that's out of the question, then show me some proof.
Looks like the only way I'm going to convince him is to present him with something he can't dismiss. Some irrefutable hard evidence. I've already got it. I'll give you the proof. It's out of the question that the two witnesses saw two different moments of the same crime, as proven by the fucking autopsy report.
Take that!
This is the victim's autopsy. You know what I said. According to what's written here, Mr. Mason was stabbed in the abdomen only once. It's quite simple. The victim was stabbed precisely one time. But which way? Which means those witnesses can't possibly have seen it happen two different times. Alright, I can see defeat. Wait, that means 4 jurors are now leaning to not guilty. We've done it, Mr. Nardo. We've won the right to continue this trial, to continue floundering about. We've won! Halfway there! Halfway there!
Shut your trap, sir.
No one deceives me.
But we had a consensus.
I said shut your trap! I know a lie when I see one. And if the chap ever dares to cross the threshold of my trap, the fuck does that sound? I'll take this razor-sharp blade and shave every last hair off his head. It's a good thing
Damn it.
Kristen,